Companies House have been making some changes. So what has actually changed and how is that going to impact you and your company? Hi, I'm Kimberly Shapcott, qualified chartered accountant, property investor and entrepreneur. Let's sit down and have a chat. We're now seeing some changes at Companies House following the introduction of the Economic Crime and Transparency Act that was introduced recently. This is going to make a few changes over the next few years. So let's go through a few of these changes and see how they're going to impact our companies and how we work with Companies House going forward, so that you've got an idea of any bits that you just need to be aware of. From the 4th of March 2024, they are looking at doing more checks and being more on it with company formations. Companies House have greater abilities now to check the data that is being submitted, so things like company names, addresses and individuals' details. And the final addition is now there is a lawful purpose statement. So you have to confirm that the company is being used for lawful purposes, which hopefully 99.9% of the time it was already, but this is just to put some sort of confirmation in that those involved in the company are going to be doing it as they should be. The next change, which we will all definitely see in our pockets, is all the fees have been increased. So a couple of the key fees that we just need to be aware of. The first one being the confirmation statement, which historically has been £13 to file your confirmation statement online. This is now going up to £34 per year. So if you've not already done your confirmation statement before this video, it will definitely be £34 after when you do your next one. If you go down a paper route, it's actually going to be £62. So I definitely advise doing any forms that you can online to keep the fees down to a minimum. Historically, it has also been only £12 to form your company. However, now that has increased to £50 when it's done online and £71 if it's done by paper. So this is likely going to remove that. I'm just going to set up a company on the basis that it's not just a tenner or £12, it's actually starting to be a sizable value to set up a company at £50. If you're looking at changing your name, historically it has been £8 online to do this. That is now changing to £20 online, so still not the biggest of values. If you want to do it online same day, it's actually £83, so that is a little more if you're looking at making some changes. This one, if you're looking at doing it by paper, will be £30. So again, it's not big numbers, but it has all gone up. And the final one to just mention today is also closing down your company. Because if you're going to close down your company properly, doing your dissolution paperwork, then the DSO1 form as it is to dissolve it yourself is now going up from £8 or £10 if you did it by paper, up to £33 or £44. So as you can see, all of these have jumped up quite noticeably. Now, it's not a big surprise because those prices have been around for a very long time, and obviously the cost of running Companies House are going up. So on this basis, the fees aren't a big surprise, but they are obviously a noticeable increase. So to set up a company, to run a company, to close a company, all of those fees are that little bit more. So it possibly does just say, are you sure you want to be running one? Especially if it's going to be costing you that little more to be retaining the company each year. Continuing on the theme of your confirmation statement, there has been the odd change to your confirmation statement. Nothing particularly major, but now you do have to register an email address with Companies House, which is just meaning that they're moving more electronic with their database so that they can contact you and have that method of contact as well as the postal method to do it electronically. And in addition to this, we also now have to do our confirmation of lawful purpose each year as well as on formation of the company. So this again is just confirming that you are doing things that you're allowed to be doing with your company on an annual basis. They're also making changes to how you can file your accounts. which at the minute you can go onto Companies House website and you can file simple accounts using the Companies House login details when you go online with them. They are now looking at transitioning to be able to do that software only. So that will either mean you need to have some sort of software yourself that will interact with Companies House and file for you, or you'll need to use an accountant who will be using software to file your accounts on your behalf. There's also going to be some additional protections for your information. So if you do want to be protecting your personal data on forms that have been filed in the past or on existing information, they are making some changes to what you can and you cannot do in terms of your personal data. This is mainly because of the potential risk of harm. So for anyone who is at slightly increased risk, this is a way of just protecting your data so people can't find where you are if there is some imminent danger that you may be put in if it's available publicly. LLPs are also changing. They will have a need to file through an appointed agent for any accounts and documentation, and also there is going to be more information that will need to be filed than has been filed previously. We don't have all the details of this just yet, but as a just overview here, there is going to be more that needs to be done with your LLP if you have one of these in place. As with the name of the Act being transparency, there is a lot more transparency coming through. And in this transparency, they are looking at making sure that shareholdings are a lot clearer for those to see when they're looking, and they're looking at removing or restricting the use of corporate directors to, in essence, as with anti-money laundering, to be able to see who the natural persons are that are involved with the companies. So this is where a lot of it stems from, and this is where we're kind of heading to more information being available to be able to see exactly how things are fitting together. In line with all of this, a lot of the enforcement and powers for Companies House have been increasing. This is enabling them to do more investigations, to look into more information and be able to have the authority to be making these requests. They will also have new powers to be able to share that information that they are finding, so in these enforcement and investigation situations, to share with law enforcement agencies and other government agencies. So this may be things like HMRC or any other of the key agencies that may need that information. So as we can see, there is quite a few changes. Some of them, it's just a simple things like you've got to tick a box and an email address. Hopefully, again, nothing too overly cumbersome, but it's just to be aware that there are things happening in the background. Companies House has been rejecting a few more forms if they don't think that something is quite right. They are making sure that they've got more information available to them, and with some of these powers that are being introduced, it is giving them the ability to do things that in the past they would not have been able to do. This is great in terms of some areas, maybe not so great in other areas, but hopefully it's a positive move forward for our limited company position to show that we are a robust and good area to be investing in from a worldwide basis as well as from a UK basis. It is making sure things are done in the right way to protect all of us. Hopefully today you've got an idea of the changes that are happening and what impact that's going to be having on you and your company. If you do have any questions, then please do leave a comment. Please like the video and do subscribe to the channel, and let's make tax less taxing.